Okay. Okay, we're live. Good. Hello. Don't be confused. It says April. We're doing May, but this is, I'm just going to recap April because it's last chance. So don't panic. It sounds like we are going to be getting a wicked storm. It's about to hit here in about 15 minutes. So I'm really hoping that that does not affect anything. But if it does, there's not much I can do, and we'll just hope for the best. All right. So we're just going to give everyone a minute or two to find our video. And I'm going to pull it up on my computer as well. Just so if my iPad stops working, I have a backup. Okay, here we go. So if I click on this, and I have to mute it. Okay, there we go. I can see comments. All right. So people are slow coming on. Maybe the whole world's without power and I don't even know it. Oh, here we go. Okay, so now we got a few more people. Hello, everyone. Whoops, I just kicked my garbage can. We're just going to hold tight for a minute here until we get a few more people on, and then we're going to get going. It is the May calendar launch party. You are looking at April. Oh, it's going to be a coffee night. Excuse me. It's last call for April. So if you did not pick up the April page, it will only be available for a few more days, and then it's going to be gone. So I thought I would just show the layout again. We only have a few left. Great layout, tons of fun to do. Room for lots of photos. And we featured the postage collage dies last month, which was really cool. I will be using those again on layouts for sure. So last call for April. If you did not get the April page, then you've got a few days or while supplies last, and then they are going to disappear. So that is that. We'll get rid of that one. And tonight we're going to talk about the May page. So I'll bring that one over. I will say I had a lot of fun creating this one. You'll notice the rainbow pattern. So that made me very happy. But this is what May looks like. It's bright, it's colorful, it's fun, and we're moving into the summer season, which means that things get more colorful and bright. Hello, everyone. So this is what we created for May. So we've got this awesome rainbow effect over here. And then we've got it over here and then some splattering. So I'm going to go through this technique and how I did it. It's a lot of fun to do, and I'm sure you will enjoy it. Now, I did get 19 photos on this page, like the 2-page spread, which was pretty exciting because this is the only scrapbooking I do in a month. So I find when the summer comes, it's hard to pick and choose which photos are going to get featured on the layout. I mean, obviously I can do pages in between the months if I have time, but I generally don't have time. I may go back and do it at some point, but I do try to capture the main highlights. And racing season is in full swing for us, and last year that was the same as well. So I did the main layout on a weekend of racing that we had. And the rest of it, the big highlights were McHappy Day, Owen was a preemie, and we spent some time at Ronald McDonald House, quite a bit of time actually, and it was a wonderful experience. So we try to support McHappy Day, and so I have a spread of photos from that. And then also Owen and Liam started playing soccer last year, so we've got some soccer photos and just a few miscellaneous ones. So I'm going to talk about how I did the photos on this side as we get into this, because I changed things up a little bit. If you look at the April page, I mean, each time I do the calendar side of a layout, it always changes a little bit depending on how many photos I have and that sort of thing. But you'll notice that I kind of collage the photos a little bit more. And I will go through some of my process on that as well. So that's the layout. I'll bring this back on again so we can talk about it a bit more, but I'm going to run through what is in the bundle. And, sorry, I've got piles, so I've got to dig out all the piles. Okay, so this is your bundle for this month. And there is one sheet of 12 by 12 white cardstock. There's one sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. And then we've got a full set of rub-ons from the True Colors Simple Stories collection. So there's 2 pages of rub-ons in this. I just love working with the rub-ons. You will likely see more rub-ons as we go through the rest of the year. You also get an assortment of enamel dots. And then you get half of a 6x6 paper pad. Plus you get a color photo of the finished layout. And then your bundle will also have a label on it that will have a QR code that will bring you right back to this video here. So you don't have to go searching through our videos and locate them. Those will be available just by scanning that QR code that will come on your bundle. So I will repeat, we've talked about this each month. The bundles will not go live until after my live is finished. And also the bundles will not be ready tomorrow. So you'll want to watch for your notifications for when your order is ready for pickup. So please don't come in tomorrow expecting to pick it up. If it ends up being ready, that's great. But just don't count on that. We've got a few things that we have to finish up with the bundles. There's also a lot of orders to pull first thing. And Shelby needs to get those labels printed and put on all the bags and so on. So just be patient and wait for that notification that it is ready. If your order is going to be shipped, you'll just watch for that shipping notification and then you'll know it's on its way to you. So that is the bundle itself. And then I figure we'll talk about the add-ons right off the hop. It's not too bad this month. Oops, that's the make and take that I'm doing. Where is my list here? Okay, so the first thing is the little die cut bag of letters for the word May. So that is one of the add-ons, and those will be in the special section on our online store for calendar series, and you'll go under the month of May and you'll find all of these add-ons there. So there's that, and then there's the calendar page. If you need one of the calendar pages to do a 2-page spread, that is an add-on. We don't assume everybody wants one, so we don't put it in the bundles. And then inks for this month. So this month I'm using Pink Fresh inks. The reason I'm using Pink Fresh inks is because it's one of the few ink cube collections of ink that I have. Most of mine are full-size pads, and this technique can be done with full-size pads. It's just a little trickier, and the ink cubes work really well. So I am using Pink Fresh inks, and I am using bubble gum. So Pink Fresh inks in cubes are sold in color families. So each row going across here is a color family. Now, I don't know what the color families are called. Shelby has them all loaded up into our, what am I saying? My May calendar bundle series category on our online store. So you'll see them in there. But I'm going to give you some other suggestions as well from other manufacturers. And just I've swatched them out so you can kind of see. But Pink Fresh inks are done in color families. Now, that's a really awesome thing. if you are working with layering stamps, or even if you want a graduated color blend in the same family, or you just want, you know, colors that are lighter and darker, but in the same color family, it's awesome. So I really love Pink Fresh inks for that. But when you buy them 4 at a time, and they come in the color family. So I'm using Bubblegum for the pink. I'm using Mango Sorbet, which is down here. I'm using Sweet Mustard. I'm using Turquoise, which is on this side, right there. And then I'm also using Key Lime, which is here. So the other great thing about this ink is that if you wanted ink in the same brightness, so the way I have them stored in here, you can see that all of my lightest colors are here and the darkest colors in the family are here. So if I wanted to stay in that same depth of color, I could choose colors all from the first row, the third row, and so on. So it has advantages and definite assets for working with a collection of ink like this. Can you do this with other collections? Yes. They're not generally sold that way, so you just have to kind of arrange them in color families yourself, but it can definitely be done. So those are the colors we're using. Now I am going to go through the inks a little bit with the swatches that I did here. And what did I do with the swatches? Oh, I buried them underneath my layout. Okay, so let's talk about the pink. So the first, oh, here comes the rain. So the first row I'm doing here is the pink. And here is the little swatch that I did. So the first color is the color that I used. This is the Pink Fresh Bubblegum. If you have Tailored Expression inks, Lollipop would be the closest one to this. And you can see that there is a difference in the palette, but you're not going to have my layout right next to yours, so it might work out fine for you. And then the Catherine Pooler Be Mine is a close one. And then Concord and Ninth Sweet Pea would be the one that would be the closest. Now, I will say, when I was swatching these out, what I did notice was the ink companies that have the foam pads, so like Catherine Pooler, Concord and Ninth, they are a little different when you drag them across your paper. A lot of ink goes down very quickly, so you'll have to be a little bit careful when you're doing this technique if you're using those brands of ink. And I'll talk about that a little bit more when we get into the demo on that. So for the orange, I used the Mango Sorbet from Pink Fresh. This is the Tailored Expressions Pumpkin. This is Catherine Pooler Orange Twist. This is Gina K Tomato Soup. We did pull Spiced Cider. Now, we took it down out of the category because I really don't think it goes very well. But I did leave it up here just in case you do have it. That's what it will look like. And in comparison to this, it's quite a bit different. And then also the Concord and Ninth Clementine. So this is Concord and Ninth Spiced Cider and Clementine. So I don't know. Those aren't my favorites. But I did swatch them out so you could kind of see what they look like. And then we've got the, oops, the yellow's next. Out of order here. So yellow, I used the Pink Fresh Mustard, Sweet Mustard, sorry, and then Gina K Wild Dandelion. This is the Concord and Ninth Sunflower. Again, not my favorite choice, but I did swatch it out just so you could see it. And then the Tailored Expressions Pineapple. So either of these would work well. And then the green, we've got Key Lime from Pink Fresh is what I used. Then this is Catherine Pooler Lime Ricky. Tailored Expressions Lime Zest. Gina K Key Lime and Concord and Ninth Sprout. So any of those work really well. But you'll notice that this one, sorry, I just got a phone call. I just hung up on my son. I'll have to call him back. Yeah, so there's Sprout and there's the Lime Ricky. So those are the foam pads. And I just find that it kind of goes on a little bit heavy, so you have to be careful when you're doing this technique. And then the turquoise from Pink Fresh is what I used. This is Gina K Ocean Mist, and this is Tailored Expressions Cookie Monster. So just to give you some ideas of the different inks and how they can work is helpful, I think. So a lot of those are in that shopping section, just so they're handy for you. Paintbrush. So you can either use the fan brush or the regular, oh, I don't need this here anymore, or the regular paintbrush for splattering, whatever you prefer. So that is on the add-on list. And then the Gina K quartz sequins, the clear quartz sequins, that is something that I use very frequently. So I use some of those. And then we did use the smallest heart from the Hero Arts Infinity dies. So any kind of teeny tiny heart die will work. And then my very favorite Tailored Expressions tags, the stacklets. So I'm using the pierced one and the regular one. So we're using both of those. We've used those many times already. And then I am using the Concord and Ninth Altogether alphabet sets in both upper and lower case. Now we are sold out of these right now. We do have an order going in, but we've put these up in the shopping section for pre-order. So if you want these, you can pre-order them. And then that will give us a good idea of how many we need to get. In situations like this, a lot of people have bought these alphabets over the last few months. So it's a bit tricky for us to estimate how many we'll need. Now, we didn't intend to sell right out, but they are very popular and they are sold out again. So we do have them up as a pre-order. They're an awesome set. On my layout, I did do upper and lower case. You could do all of one or all of the other. Maybe you have another alphabet set that will work, but you can see that this is lowercase, this is upper, lower, upper, lower. So that's the way I chose to do it. But you can mix and match however you like. This is an amazing alphabet set. You don't have to cut out the entire panel each time you do it. You can put scraps of paper over the letters that you want and put it through that way. But what I find I do is I cut out several of them in white, and I store them in one of the little craft stacks from Spellbinders, and then I just root through what I need, and I use ink to color them, or you can cut them out in different colors of cardstock and store them, and then you can pick and choose what you want to use, and they're already cut out for you. So either way, they're just amazing dies. I love them. I find myself using them a lot. I know Amanda uses them a lot on her cards and stuff as well. So both of those were used. A black pen or marker, a sanding block, your T square ruler, and ink blending brushes. So the other thing that I did use was a stamp set for the calendar side. Right here at the bottom of each of these paintbrushes, I used this little stamp here from this Splash of Color set. So again, this has sold out. We've ordered it a few times already. We've got more on the way already, but we did put it up for pre-order. So if this is something that you would like, you can go ahead and pre-order it. And then when it comes in, we'll clear your order out at that point so that you can use that. But if you've got another stamp you can use, or maybe you want to just do a watercolor spot with the ink or whatever, you can do that as well. So there's other options if you want to get creative. The stamp worked really great for me. I love how it looks, and so I snagged it from there. But again, that is up for pre-order if you would like. Now also, if you pre-order an item, maybe in the comments, you can let us know whether you want your order to be cleared out and ready for pickup or shipped out before that item that you've pre-ordered arrives, or whether you want to hold and wait until it arrives. So just so we have an idea of how you want to proceed. We will assume that you are waiting if you don't let us know, because the order won't be complete. So we'll just hold it until it does arrive. And it could be 2 to 3 weeks before it arrives. We're picking up a shipment tomorrow. But then the next one isn't for 2 weeks. So it would be a minimum of 2 weeks. But the thing is, we are at the mercy of these companies as far as how quickly they ship to us. So if they don't ship out quickly and it misses our next delivery across the border, then we have to wait again. So just keep that in mind when you're putting your orders in. If you do pre-order something, just in the comments, let us know how you would like to proceed with that. And that really helps us out. So we don't want to keep your order waiting if you want to get what is available right away. So, okay, so that's it for add-ons. Not too bad. All right, so what I'm going to do quickly is run through the papers in the bundle and how I use them and measurements and so on. Believe it or not, I hardly used any paper this month at all. I'm finding this is happening to me more and more. I have paper collections ordered and set aside for this well in advance of the month as it comes up, but I don't really necessarily have a plan. And if you're like me, when you start creating, you start doing something, but then where you end up is completely different. So it was really funny because I was making this and I'm thinking, well, I haven't really used any pattern paper yet. So I've got to figure out, how I'm going to do that. So you do get a whole half pad of this gorgeous pattern paper from Echo Park, but we're only using 2 sheets of it. So you've got lots and lots of extra paper here. So you could make a series of layouts for sure, using some of the techniques that you're going to learn here and, make up some pages maybe to follow this, or, you can use these on cards and all kinds of things. So you've got extra paper here. We are going to be using the large floral on the front. Well, it depends which side of the pad you get, but it'll be the first sheet inside your pad. And it has the black hearts on it. Okay, so that one. And then there's a smaller floral, which happens to be the last paper in this one. And it has no black hearts. It's a smaller print, but it does kind of match the one on the front there. Okay, so those are the 2 papers we're going to be using. The rest are extra. Now, there were a lot of really great papers in here that I loved. This plaid was awesome. The camera was really cool. I loved the paintbrushes. I love the black hearts. The stripe was really great. And they all worked really well with the palette that I was kind of gearing the layout towards. But when push came to shove, I ended up going with the florals, and they are just to mat your photos. So, where's my list? Here it is. So let's pull this out. So the floral with the black hearts, which is the one with the larger floral print, you're going to cut 3 pieces that measure 3 inches by 3 inches. And they are going to be the 3 photos that I have in the center here. That's what I matted those with. And then the other floral, you're going to cut 2 of them at 3 inches by 3 inches. And that's for the top and bottom one. So I matted all the photos in pattern paper. And then the full sheet of white cardstock that you got that was 12 by 12, that's going to be the background sheet for the main layout. And then the 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock, that is going to be used to cut out the letters that you use to create this, plus the tags that I've got tucked in underneath the photos here. So that's sort of extra. So depending on how you approach the layout and what you decide to do, that paper may be extra. Now, when I hold it up here, you'll notice that it's a different color white. This is the Nina 8.5 by 11, 80-pound cardstock. And this is the smooth white cardstock that's 12 by 12. So you can see that whites are different and they aren't the same. But when you put the layout together, I don't think that you even notice that there's much of a difference. If anything, it helps the tags sort of stand off the page a little bit, which I don't mind at all. So if you're really fussy about that, you can always swap out white cardstock. If you've got smooth white cardstock in your stash, you can do that, but it does not clash or look bad in any way. So just know that the whites are different, and you're going to notice it when you take it out of the package. But when you put your layout together, it's not going to show at all. And then when you're using your rub-ons, I can do a little demo using rub-ons. I just assume everybody knows how to do these things, but I should not, because I've got some extra rub-ons here. So I'm just going to grab a piece of white scrap paper so I can show you the do's and don'ts. Okay. So rub-ons have been around a very long time. They went away for a while, and now they've come back, and they're even better than they ever were. Thank you, Mary. I love the layout, too. And I think it works for just about anything. So these are my leftover rub-ons from the page. And I'm just going to demonstrate with this one here. So you'll notice that I have it cut out. Don't take your whole sheet of rub-ons and place it down and try to just rub the areas that you want. Inevitably, some rub-ons are quite tacky and they'll stick down, and then when you try to lift them up, parts of it will release and stay on the paper. But sometimes they're not sticky and you can lift them up and move them around with no problem. But when you're rubbing the rub-on on, you might rub a little bit too far and end up with some of the design beside it. Now, I've thrown out my popsicle stick because I was done with these. I'm just going to grab a bone folder here, and I'm going to use that to do the rubbing. So you put the pattern side up, so the actual rub-on is on the back, okay? And you're just going to place that where you want it, and you just start rubbing back and forth. And if you're not sure if it's transferring, you can just pick up the corner and lift it a little bit. And if things are sticking to your release paper, it's not down. You just have to rub it a little bit harder and then, or go over that spot again, and then it will release onto your paper. So it's quite easy to do. And these rub-ons are quite forgiving. So if something is not letting go, you just lay it back down and rub it again, and then it will just release. So it's not tricky at all. And did you know that you can layer rub-ons on top of rub-ons? We did that on one of the areas on the calendar side. Okay, so this looks like it's good. Yep. So now the rub-on is gone from the paper, and it's down nicely onto here. So right here, the background, the plaid background is one like this, where it's just sort of a background, and then I put the camera over top of that. So you can actually layer a rub-on top of a rub-on. I'm just going to cut out this little phone so I can show you how easy that works. So if I wanted to put that phone right on top, like so, you just do the same thing again. And it will transfer right onto the rub-on below it. So just like die cuts and other things like that, you can also layer up your rub-ons. And it's really fun to do. Well, if that's the big storm, I think we're going to be okay. It rained hard for a few minutes, and now everything is quiet. So that's a good thing. No thunder or lightning. It's kind of a non-event. But when I was looking at the radar, I was like, oh man. Okay, so there you go. See, so I've layered one rub-on on top of another rub-on, and it works perfectly. So we've done that on the calendar side of the paper. And then we also did it down here. I clustered together 3 different rub-ons to create this little cluster right here. And I love it because rub-ons, they're kind of translucent, so you can kind of see where they're layered and the background, just the tiniest little bit, and it just looks like it's actually part of the paper. It's like it was meant to be there. So it's really easy to do, and they're a ton of fun to play with. So just remember to cut them apart, you know, the pieces that you want to use, and then I just store them, you know, back on these sheets inside the package, and then if you want to use them, you can. So, strong winds and thunder and lightning and Guelph. Well, you just keep that there, Terry, because I don't need that. Maybe we just got the edge of it, and that's okay. Okay, so that's how the rub-ons work. And with the photo that you have in your kit, plus I'm going to bring the layout back on and you'll have lots of opportunities to see it here in the video too. You'll be able to figure out where all of the rub-ons in the package go. They're quite fun to work with. I really like it. Okay, so I went through all of those and the measurements. Okay, good. Let's check my list here. Okay, so now I think what I'm going to do is demonstrate how to create this background that I did here. It's actually quite easy to do. And it's just done in a few different steps. I'm just going to see if I place that over here for now. I think you can still see it and I can still work on it. Okay, so I've got to grab out my inks. So we're going to start with the pink. And I'm just really going to eyeball where I'm putting the ink. So the swooshes of color take up about 2/3 of the page. So I'm leaving the third over here kind of empty. And that's where my photos are going to go down the side here. So you just have to kind of do your swooshing right there. So I'm going to leave about, I don't know, maybe 1.5 inches, 1 3/4 of space at the top. And I'm simply going to take my ink cube and I'm going to pull it across this area until I get the depth of color that I want. Now that is kind of the look I'm going for there. We're going to be doing some ink blending on top of this to smooth it out. So that is one. And then I need mango sorbet. Excuse me. And again, same concept. And it kind of goes on streaky and blotchy. That's okay. Like I said, we're going to blend that out a little bit. So there's a second one. And now we want sweet mustard. And this is the part that I was saying that might be a little trickier with the foam pads or a large pad. Because if it's a large pad, you're really going to have to try to, get that strip. And then if it's a foam pad, they tend to lay down a lot of ink really quickly. So you might not get that sort of blotchy, scratchy look that we're kind of going for here. And then key lime. But isn't that fun? I mean, it's so easy to do. You really can't mess it up. I guess you could, but it'd be pretty hard. You just sort of put it on there. And then the last one is the turquoise. So they're all about the same width apart. Okay, so step 2 now is to ink blend kind of over top of these, and that's where they're going to kind of come together a little bit more. Now, when I was doing my live yesterday, I was talking about the different blending brushes and sizes and all that kind of thing. So normally I would go to this size of a brush, which I would compare to sort of this size of a brush. I'm quite partial to the Altenew brushes, so that's what I'm going to use. You can easily do it with this size of a brush, but I have recently discovered some of the larger brushes, and I said I was going to demo this in my live yesterday, and then I forgot. So I talked about this size of a brush and when you might want to use it, and this is one of those times because it's going to allow me to do a much bigger area a lot quicker. Without it being a problem. Now, this is much bigger than this, so you've got to fill this up with ink. I wouldn't say fill it up, but I'm just going to run my brush across it like so. So we just pick up some of that ink, and I'm going to lightly go on and start going in with a light hand. Now, this is a virgin blender, so it's got 0 ink on it, and it's not seasoned at all, so you might see me going back quite a bit to pick up ink. And that's not necessarily because I'm not getting good coverage. It's because there is 0 ink on this blending brush. So I do like these larger brushes for being able to get good coverage. Doesn't look like I'm putting anything down, does it? But on here, I really am. I'm going in quite light to start. I can't take it away once I put it down. So I go in quite light to begin. And this is just going to kind of smooth out that sort of scratchy look. I'm not going to make it go away by any means. I'm just sort of smoothing over top and blending around the area. There we go. It's starting to come in now a bit. Ooh, look at, I'm getting it all over my fingers. Okay, so if that happens, do not touch your layout anywhere else because you're going to have blotches. And this is Amanda's layout, so I don't want to wreck it. She won't be happy with me. Okay, so there is the pink. And we're not finished once we do the blending. Now, I don't have a lot of these large brushes yet, so I'm going to switch to my smaller ones just because I don't have one for each color family. And I am loading that up with quite a bit of ink, and I don't want to contaminate the other areas. So, but I just wanted to show you how those larger brushes work. They work very nicely, especially once you get a little bit of ink built up on them. Okay, so now we're going to go in with our Mango Sorbet. And I have an ink holder here somewhere. There it is. So I don't have to chase my ink cube all over my table. Okay, so again, I'm just going to go in. See, this one's very seasoned already, and I think this is the last color that I used to do this layout. And we're just sort of blending those inks together. And again, this is only step 2 of 3. So we're still doing one more technique on here. Okay, so there's the mango. You know, I really am very disappointed with how ink blending can look on the screen. My ink blending looks very smooth and even, but when I look at it on my iPad, it looks blotchy, and it's not. So that's kind of deceiving. Okay, so yellow. We're going to go in with sweet mustard. I'm sorry that it looks that way because it really isn't, it isn't blotchy. It's very smooth. Okay, so we're just going to blend in some yellow. You don't have to do this step if you don't want to. I just think it softens it a bit, and it's going to kind of prepare it for the next step, which is when we're going to do some splattering. Okay, so there's our yellow. And you can see now how you're kind of getting a little bit more of a gradient blend. There's not so much white space in between there. At least I can see it. I don't know. I'm hoping you can see it. Okay, and then we're going to try the green. And again, start with a light hand, and then you can start adding pressure. So did any of you get crafty today? I had a very creative day, actually. It was kind of fun. I'm usually stuck on the computer a lot, so it was kind of fun to do creative things. But because I was creative, now I have to do all the prep work. Okay, so there's the green. And then the last one will be the turquoise. I really like the look that it gives when you, oh, Marianne, you're in Whistler. I'm so jealous. Are you getting nice weather? Oh, Marianne, she's in one of my favorite parts of the country. I didn't go last year. Maybe I should go this year. I love the West. But I hope she's getting nice weather. Okay, and somebody was organizing. Headed to the island tomorrow. So nice. Nicole was organizing. Well, organizing is a whole other hobby. I find. Okay, so there we've got all the colors blended out. Looks beautiful. So then the final step is going to be the splattering. I'm just going to set my ink up here so it's out of the way. So you'll notice that I have got ink splattering, and I did it in all of the colors. So just over those areas. Now what I really want to make sure I do here is make sure that I have everything away from the area where I'm going to splatter. I'm actually going to pull out my splatter box because it's not as bad when you're working with ink, but if you are working with the Winsor & Newton stuff, it just goes everywhere, and that stuff doesn't come off as easy. So ink, I find I can clean up pretty quick, but I do have a box that I splatter in, but I still have it on my desk, and I have it on my pole for for my mount and everything. So I'm going to do the splattering in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the ink and I'm just going to smoosh it on my glass mat, and then I'm going to, oh, I didn't get water. Ugh. One moment. I always forget something. I just need a splash of water. Okay. I guess I could have sprayed it. Didn't think of that. Okay, so now I'm just going to take a brush. Now I'm going to not use my fan brush. I want a bit bigger splatter. Oops, I almost dipped that in my lemonade. That would be bad. So you're just going to dilute that a little bit with some water. And then over here, you're just going to tap and splatter around that pink area. I mean, it's going to go into some of the other areas. That's okay. And it's going to overlap the blending and the inking that you already did. Okay, so then in between, we're just going to clean up this little area here. I'm going to get the pink out of my brush. And then I'm going to come in with my next color, which is the mango. And I'm just going to add a bit of water. And again, I'm going to splatter. I find with the fan brush, you get a much smaller splatter. So I wanted this to be a little bit more obvious. So I'm not going to use the splatter brush. But if that's all you have, you can definitely make it work. And then next up, we've got our yellow. Now you want to make sure that this is good and dry before you do any rub-ons on top of it, because they might not adhere as nicely if it's damp at all. So do this and then kind of let it sit, and then you can come back and do rub-ons. And I will explain because I did do rub-ons right on top of this. I'll show you once we're done splattering. Well, Amanda, yours is turning out just nicely. I don't think she's watching tonight. She had soccer with Owen. And Olivia was up a few times last night, so she was dragging a little bit and said she might call it an early night. I love how this splatter looks on top of the ink blending. I just think it is so cool. I'll hold it up nice and close so you can see. Last color is the turquoise. And then we're just at the bottom here. And the splatter and the colors kind of overlap, which is really cool. Okay, so that's as easy as it is to do the splattering part. So let's get rid of the box. And I'm just going to hold this up so you can kind of see what we've got going on there. So you can see that the green and the blue are kind of going together a little bit. So that's kind of the look that you're going for. Now, when I said to make sure that it dries well before you add any rub-ons, there are some text rub-ons in the package. And so I cut them apart and I did do rub-ons in those areas as well. So you want to make sure that this is very dry before you go ahead and do that. You're probably going to want to have all your letters in place anyways. But so I said, right here it says, just doing my own thing. I'm kind of awesome. It just keeps getting better and better. Hi, it's me. And this is my story. So I just kind of paired them up with each of the swooshes of color. And that's kind of how I finished that off. So it worked out quite nicely. And you can see here in the package that the text is in different spots. Just make sure you cut it out into the individual strips, and then you can go ahead and do the rub-ons there. But essentially, that is how you create the background. Now, one thing that I did contemplate adding was a row of stitching. I didn't get to it, and I was afraid I was going to wreck it before the live, so I stopped. But I would like to take one strand of floss and stitch through the line, right through the center of the text. It would just be a design element to create some texture and interest. So it is an option for you if you like to do that kind of thing. I just didn't get it done, so I kind of stopped there. And then to do this section over here, what I did was I stamped the splatter spots, and then I rubbed on the individual paint brushes that sort of match the colors. There wasn't one that matched my green, so I just used the teal one on there, and it still works great. And then I did do some splattering in this section as well. And then also, before you do the rub-on over here, I splattered in that area as well. So I did the stamping, and then the splattering, and then I did the rub-ons. And then I did just do a little bit of loose scribbling, I will call it. I just did some flicks of black marker. And then that's where I clustered my enamel dots and my hearts and my clear sequins. And I did it in the bottom corner over here. And then I also added, you know, little clusters of embellishments around the page on the calendar part as well. So yes, okay, so the last thing I'm going to talk about are my photos. And this is always a big conversation. And I'm not going to go into, you know, what app I used and what exact collage I used, because everybody's photos are going to be different. I even had to play around with mine a little bit to get them to fit into all the spots properly. And we didn't chop off someone's head or, you know, whatever. So it's really going to vary for everybody. But I use, what is the name of the app I use? PicFrame, I think. I have an iPhone, so I purchased the app outright. They do have like a subscription. I think we paid $1.99 a month or something like that, but I just paid for it. And so it opens up all the collages, and I just chose one that, in this particular case, it was 7 photos. And originally I was going to keep it as a 4x6 photo with, you know, 7 pictures collaged onto that space. But then when I printed it out, it was just too big for the spot that I wanted. So I ended up cutting all the pictures in the collage out as individual prints. And then I just sort of laid them on here and overlapped them and popped some of them up. And I really liked how it looked. So I ended up doing 2 of them, and then they just kind of filled in that area. So I'll hold this up a little bit closer because you will see that some of the smaller photos are, they're popped up when they overlap. And I really like how this turned out, and I think I'll be using this technique in the future because it allowed me to get 7 photos on each of the 4x6s, which is 14 pictures, plus I got the 5 over here. So that's 19 photos. So I was pretty happy with that. And even though some of them are quite small, I think you don't lose too much when you make a photo smaller. Like here, in this particular case, we've got a nice picture of Liam with his soccer ball and his after soccer snack. But then I have just a few other photos of him while he was playing soccer and doing other things. And they're smaller, but this is the main one. So you kind of know he's playing soccer. And then here, when we went to dinner at McDonald's for McHappy Day, we've got our group photo that's big. And then because it's all about Owen for that day, I've got Owen in most of the photos. And, you know, a couple others where there's other family members and stuff in it. And I really like how it turned out. So play around with the collages. And even though you print them all on a 4x6, cut them all apart. And then, you know, just start playing with the way you lay them out on your page and see what you can come up with. But it's a really fun way to arrange the photos on the calendar part. And I mean, in theory, you could do a whole bunch of smaller photos like this all the way down this side of the page. So you could get tons and tons of photos on there. It's a great way to get lots of pictures. So, and again, we're getting to that time of year where we're outside and we're doing more things. So, like in the winter, you know, what are you going to take pictures of? Your couch, your TV, your fireplace, your slippers, you know, like you're not out doing things where in the summertime, you're out doing more things. So you want to get more photos on there. So definitely play around with the collages and see how you can make them work. But that's what I did for those. I'm not going to measure each photo because it really isn't going to help you, because you're never going to end up with the photos exactly the same way, depending on which collage you choose. So anyway, so play around with that and have some fun. I hope you enjoy making the background. It's a really fun technique for sure. And I would say it almost turned out exactly the same, which is really cool. You can kind of, you know, do it, and you can even, not necessarily on this page because the colors coordinate with the rub-ons, but future layouts, you can definitely do this kind of technique and turn it into a real masculine page or a graduation page or something like that, just by switching up the colors and the embellishments that you use. You can do the same technique for lots of different themes. But this one was very generic because, you know, there are so many reasons to be happy. You can put anything at all on this page and it will work. So, yeah. So I guess that's it. I think I covered everything. Does anyone have any questions that they want to type in while I'm still here live? And anything I can answer. The bundles will go live when we are done here. Shelby's going to populate that. It might take a minute, not a minute. Well, it may take a minute or two. You might have to refresh your page. What is the tag that you used? I used their Tailored Expressions. Where are my dies? I buried them. Okay, just a second here. I gotta find everything because I stacked stuff. Oh, here we go. So they are Tailored Expressions tag stacklets. And I used the smallest tag. So, again, this is what I'm using. So if you're using this, it's the smallest tag. If you want to use things in your stash, this is a 3x3 mat here. So you can judge based on the dies that you have, what size tag, or if you're cutting it yourself, you can decipher how big you want that tag to be. But, you know, again, it's just going to fill in that space. So whatever, depending on how you put your photos, and so on, then that will determine sort of what size tag you want to use. And then I did put rub-ons on them as well. So I didn't put like, you know, a topper on them or anything. I just sort of tucked them in. And I like the way the tags look when they're layered. So I'll pull that up there. I've shown it before. The plain one is in the back and then the pierced one is on the top. And it just gives a really nice effect. Where did you use the tag? Right here. 1, 2, 3. And then I put the rub-ons on them as well. Oh, you see it now? Okay, good, Susan. I get the comments, they come in, there's a delay. So you type it and then like, I don't know, 15, 20 seconds later, it shows up on my screen. So I probably showed the layout and then you went, oh, there it is. Yes, so the tags are just tucked in here. And yeah, so I think that's it. Any other questions I can answer? What is the app called again that you purchased? I think it's called PicFrame. I can't check it on my phone because I'm on my phone. Just let me see if it shows up on my iPad here. I'm pretty sure it's called PicFrame. I don't see it on here. Shelby, is that what it's called? Oh, yes, it is PicFrame. So it's just a, the icon is a blue, green, and pink square, and it's called PicFrame. And I know, like when I first got the app, it was free. You just couldn't access all of the collages. But when I started talking about it once, people said that that they had to buy it. So you may have to purchase, I think it's a monthly fee, or I think it was like $35 or $34.99 or something, and I just bought the whole thing. And that way I own it forever. I mean, it's not like I'm never going to collage photos like for the rest of my life, because I definitely am. So I figured it was worth the purchase. And I have spent $35 on worse things. so it was really easy for me to justify that. So, okay, I think I answered everybody's questions. Have fun creating, guys. It's so fun. Like I love this whole calendar series. I think it is just super fun. So, and again, last call for April pages. So if you have not picked up your April page, make sure you do that, because it's while quantities last. We're almost done, and they will go away soon. So we don't leave these pages hanging around for a long time. So make sure you grab April if you need to. May will be up shortly, and all the add-ons will be in there. And just remember that there are a few items that are pre-ordered because we're sold out. And leave in the comments if you want your order shipped or ready to pick up before your pre-orders come in, or whether you want to wait. That's very helpful for us. And yeah, I think that's it. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you again soon.